know the tombstone's necessarily going to be the big issue here. More just that decay spam running at you as a soul.
It's also the soul rep, right? The soul rep heal is clutch here. Like the Lestrak, I think, is the win condition for T1. And remember, we've seen Lestrak today. Like if you can find a way to keep him alive, he can push you through these fights and get you to a win. But yeah, let's get in the game. I think we're about ready to get underway. This should be an interesting one though, Breaky. I mean, I still get that sense of T1 kind of picking these heroes meant to plow out the lane. But Infamous, on the other hand, like this Medusa, it's either going to allow them to get a very cozy, easy win in the late game, or it could easily be the bane of their existence here.
I really like Infamous's. I think the Medusa is that perfect pick. You know, again, they could have gone two different directions. One being more that vengeful kind of, like I said, they're all in earlier on strategy, or this is certainly the other option, like Naga Siren and played a Medusa as they saw here. And yeah, her gaze is going to be great this game. Will they have enough damage to actually kill the Medusa? That truly is the concern for T1.
30 seconds to battle.
In terms of their being able to actually win the game. So, especially like game as usual when a Medusa's in it, that's not going to be looking pretty good for them. One, they're going to try to hit that mid-game peak, right? Of able to push and try to win, specifically with that Lestrak, the early Bloodstone, sustaining him, getting the auras on Undying, pushing a win beat. Slight pause here.
Two-legged abomination.
But yeah, if I honestly picking just by the drafts, I do lean towards Infamous.
Infamous have more ceiling. That's why you have to look at this. Like T1 have gone for a draft that's looking to peak probably around the 30-minute mark. So at that point, they should have deleted all the outer towers and have an opportunity to go in the high ground. We'll stun to open up. Nice hook back. And of course, if you're Mirana after level leap, what are you? So we'll just accept his first blood, go in the way of Anna. Nice start to this game for T1.
Yeah, that's fantastic, of course, for them. So already on the scoreboard, 1-0, and the laning phase we go. Mirana actually just holding that point in the game. It's Michael. Still hasn't even leveled up. He's
I mean,
sleep right there. Probably doesn't.
Like, let's be real. If you're leveling lead level 1 as a Mirana, you've kind of already given over the lane. Like you need that stun, sure. Even if it's just for securing the creeps.
Well, I got the
that wasn't an. Yep, as intended, Breaky, as intended.
A misconnection.
Uh-oh.
But they got hit.
Gonna hit there. Again,
Oh
for Mana, I'm gonna push him back, but they're fine.
This was a really impactful laning combo, actually. The vision you get from Crystal Nova in conjunction with the slow makes it impossible for Mirana to move out of the way before she gets level 2, especially considering that Michael did not start the win lays.
Gonna keep spamming those arrows. Another one gonna be coming up here soon as Whitemon not afraid to play aggressive against the Beastmaster, but there's another range creep going down. Doing his part there.
So you're also seeing Frank has gone for Wild Axes. Like he can't level pull the Wild in this lane. It's just, you're up against the Maiden who's gonna get Frostbite level 2, right? So it is a very much hard counter lane for Infamous, which is kind of unfortunate considering they only need the Beast to do a lot in this game. At least they hit an arrow, beautifully done to get a kill on Whitemon, but they're gonna need a lot more
counter, you say?
Yeah,
Kill the
cast the
Crystal
curse straight away, right?
Pretty much. I mean, that's certainly a fair point. Yeah, the Crystal Maiden goes back to the drafting and why I liked it as well, but especially this early on, she doesn't even have the freeze just yet, and hey, landing an arrow certainly helps Mirana to secure that. Maybe not one apiece. Yeah, it's a good matchup. You have Pango versus Leshrak, and it is actually even at this 2. You have the bottom matchup of Medusa. Currently looking at 12-0 up against the Undying, who's at 8-3. It's a slight advantage coming out.
Yeah, like this bot lane, I mean, the Medusa should get to farm, at least in the beginning. It's very hard for them to dive together, right? Double melee up against the Witch Doctor. Someone else that we might start seeing come into play more is Voodoo Restoration now, not just healing, but also damaging around you, right? A very big difference compared to the old Witch Doctor. And if your goal is to dedicate all your attention to killing Medusa, it might actually just be that hostile Witch Doctor that tends to be your downfalls. someone to kind of consider whenever you dive here. But overall, an interesting approach that T1 have to this game in that Leshrac, to me, isn't really pressured on the lane. Even when Leo Style gets up to level 6, if you look at the heroes, it's very hard to rotate simply because you don't have a reliable stun to lock the Lesh in.
Frank getting low, he needs to dodge his hook. It's so hard. Ana's just gonna walk up, doesn't even bother going for the hook. Simply walks up and pops that rod. And also we see gonna go for another kill, but yeah, bottom lane there was action too. So that action in all the lanes happening, but only ends up being the one kill.
Yeah, Cuckoo was able to sustain. Just an annoying hero to try and burst down with a level 1 Maledict, but the threat is actually going to grow. Maledict's level 2 now for the Witch Doctor, so Cuckoo needs to be a little bit more cautious about how he postures with these decay charges, especially when they start running out. Overall, able to sustain for the moment, and credit where credit is due. Like I said, I'm not sure if Thompson's necessarily going to be stopped in the mid lane once 6 is hitting. Words. But Leo Style is having a great start to this game. Yeah. Oh, but
in fact, you see right here, that's not going to be a kill, but it got damn close. But yeah, Leo Style going to bottle up another water rune, and back to middle lane. Thompson is going to be able to get a zone as no one's rotating over.
Oh,
to stop that bottom lane, that's a kill. That's a kill. Yeah, big one.
They baited themselves in as well. Like, they thought they could get the Undying, the mistake that we always make, and Cuckoo will even get to deny himself afterwards after getting a double kill. Top lane, a lot of action happening up there as well, though, as Ana does get taken down, and all of a sudden, Infamous not looking as shaky as they maybe did at the beginning of this top lane.
Well, we already got 7 kills in 4.5 minutes, so yeah, right on track to definitely the pace of the game that we certainly expected. Two teams going at him, especially the drafts to come. And I mentioned the Tombstone presence maybe not going to be the most powerful throughout this game, but hey, the laning phase is still going to be very strong. And obviously a big factor as to why they're able to get those 2 kills initially at the bottom. Thompson nearly going down the middle, but will live past TP support. And now they're going for the turn. Pango's dead. Beautiful turn around from T1. He had to avoid the arrow. That was close.
Yeah, it's very easy in that moment to feel confident and look away as the way you're clicking next, and then all of a sudden arrows in your face. But Thompson dodges there, beautifully done there. Leaving farm before heading back to base here. Wants some min-max, as he has got a lot of mana left. Meanwhile, on the top lane, looks like Frank's been found out of location. A little bit of a pickle. As soon as the Mirana shoot mid with the arrow, they knew they could take that kill top.
Yeah, that was exactly Ana just W keyed. I mean, if you want to put it in an FPS terms, literally just ran at them as far as ran at the Beastmaster.
Technically, you're correct, Breaking. He did W key. That's how you're saying you're wrong. So even outside FPS is correct.
He's under attack.
Using that rod right there. Yeah, just walked right up to him and just spammed the rod, and not much Beastmaster could do at that point. Of course. So yeah, good insight there as far as the Mirana not being there. Presence being shown in that mid lane, but we're on a backup out there, pinging out on us if you want.
That's a frustration in the mid lane as well. Bot lane, in the meantime, though, bigger frustrations coming. Parker barely able to dodge death here, but it's wrapping around on him. One more tap would end him. They'll finish off the Witch Doctor first, probably Zephyr. Oh, it just doesn't matter, man. It's the Tombstone zombies that are doing the damage. Cuckoo will be able to get the follow-up, but this lane is getting mighty spooky for Infamous.
Cuckoo, he is so tanky here and getting some more decay stacks up as well. Michael can't really duel him right now, but yeah, another Tombstone kill. I believe every time he's used this Tombstone in the bottom lane, it's resulted in something, and that's only, what is that, 2 or 3? Yeah, that's 2 deaths currently on Parker here on this Medusa, but he, you know, she's already starting to have a bit of a struggle. 2,600 net worth down about 5th place so early on, but Mirana, well, I guess that's what happens when Thompson just rotates over.
I mean, the rotation is the key detail here, not just from the mid, but from the supports before this. Like, it feels like Infamous are slow in comparison to what T1 are doing, which is why this is starting to just turn into a dump string. Medusa out of mana and out of life, double kill for Whitemon, and Leo Style has TP'd down here basically for nothing. It's going to be very difficult for them to mount a defense because of how long TPing heroes in will take now.
That really is unfortunate circumstances for the side of Infamous, but credit to T1 absolutely, specifically Thompson with the rotation, and Zephyr using that onslaught to just dive onto the Medusa and set up what's now his 3rd death of the game. So he's got power treads here on this Medusa, but it's going to be a struggle. You know, you want to stack camps for this hero, you want to allow for that farm to get enhanced, especially as we start exiting out of that laning phase, but right now, it's already looking difficult for Infamous. And again, credit to T1 taking that map control, roaming at appropriate times, specifically with, I go back to Leshrak from the mid lane. And he is back in the mid lane, though, with that support nearby, putting some pressure on this mid tower. But
Ring control off the mark this time around, so Thompson will be hit up by the Maledict, does need to retreat away. Michael can keep poking, but instead he turns around to assist. Zephyr doesn't care, though. He's already got his kill into Affliction. The irony of the ban with Maledict being the one afflicted in the end. Oh, Zephyr will die, but the amount of attention he drew, got to be happy with the result.
Yeah, there's certainly no disappointment right there.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Fitting himself, but Ana hook. Yes, it is gonna land. Michael attempting the dodge. Ana being very careful with where to hit
tower
it.
Is under attack.
Fair enough, lands it and gets the kill. So that fudge do work. Look at Thompson. He's gonna go into the jungle, trying to steal the rest of these creeps, and he does.
Punishment coming though. Leostar in position to stun Thompson up. The slows come out, and he cannot get about. He's going to fall down. Zephyr charges in. No Parker brought low. Stun interruption. CM not able to assist with the ultimate anymore. Primal coming out, but the Primal Beast will be able to walk away successfully. Key detail though is the Medusa stays alive.
Radiant's bottom tower.
That's important now. Again, she lost a bit of that farm, but hey, they took the Leshrak, so 9 for 9 suppose. But Ana trying to find a kill. He gets one onto the side. He picks up the creep as well. Pretty much knowing that he's dead at this point, and just runs at the Medusa for a couple of auto attacks before his certain death. So,
More has come to Radiant's bottom tower.
Actually benefiting Infamous from those couple of exchanges there, and the 1100 change favoring Infamous after that one. So, it's suddenly looking a little better than it was.
There's kind of a weird kill exchange element going on here. I think what maybe T1 aren't realizing is how far ahead they are in net worth. So like that last fight ends up being a big exchange in favor of Infamous, right? 1,100 gold. And almost feel like T1 are just playing that confidence that they can get a kill for a kill with their cause is good enough. They seem to forget the supports that die alongside that story. Speed of supports once again in the river, and they're just wasting time on the wrong target here. Mirana is not the one they need to go after. And I do feel like all this attention mid is enabling and giving the space over the Beastmaster needs to start getting back into this game.
Yeah, he certainly needs his presence to be felt. He does have that helmet of Dominator. He's even trying to finish boots at this point. Doesn't even have a pair of those things yet, but going to manage to get that soon. So yeah,
yeah, he's not come back in the game if he keeps losing the creeps like that. That was kind of depressing to watch, Breaky. It's once again on Leostar though. Like the weird part is that these fights fed towards them and it seemed good, but it's kind of deceptive overall. You can see the net worth just bumping up for T1 consistently, and so far Pangolier hasn't really been able to rotate outwards to secure objectives.
I love this Undying too. This is another thing with this core Undying. You know, he's already level 8, which is actually even higher level than the Medusa, and frankly, just about every other hero on the other side outside of that Pango. So the Decay's maxed out. Even has a level 2 Tombstone, has his Flesh Golem, of course. So this Undying is more than just a laning phase bully. He's a bully throughout with this roam now that's constantly happening on the side of T1. They have a 4,000 net worth
tower is under
right now. It's going to go down a little bit because of this top tier 1.
Radiant's towers are fortified. You can't even match like cordwood before axe is
defending it. Simply fighting
Zephyrs going in. Pulverize ready. No chance the Royal button to come out. They commit everything to get rid of Leostar because they know he's dead. Lewis can't fight.
Yeah, exactly. And the Tombstone really not even needed there, but that was just obviously really securing that kill. It is kind of protecting this tier 1 tower push now, if anything. So I don't know if they're going to get it in the end as it's slowly going down. But meanwhile, Infamous is busy doing these Ancients, so that's why they're not defending currently. They're really trying to recover that farm on the Medusa. And to their credit, it's definitely jumping up a bit in that work. Parker feeling these stacks, and Infamous doing what they need to. And that, again, is securing the farm on Medusa the best they can.
So the reason that worked out so well is Leshrak was rotating top to push out the wave the Beast had brought in. I think that's why they weren't pressured to defend the tier 1, especially after Pango goes down. So it's kind of a combination of tops and maybe just focusing on farm instead of key objectives to kind of kick the timing down the road. And as a result, Infamous don't ultimately get punished as much as they should have. Now they're trying to return the punishment. Zephyr, give me a lot for this. Say that, scrap
chance there. Moonlight Shadows even activated as they engage right there. Not really sure what the supporting cast for the Primal Beast was, to be fair, but in the end, unnecessarily needed. But hey, more push for Beastmaster. You talked about Frank certainly stepping up on the Beastmaster, and he's absolutely doing that.
Middle tower is under attack.
Knocking on the door for T1 to have to react to it eventually. Pudge, though, it's just farming ancients.
That's the concern, right? This is the concern that despite you finding these occasional kills, T1 are still maintaining their net worth lead. They're still farming. Whenever someone dies, there's 3 other heroes elsewhere grab and creeps. So kind of feels like they need more than just killing a Primal Beast, which is cute, but isn't really leading to anything new to meet your win conditions. Oh my god, this is so gluttonous. All Thunder comes in, starts to there, and Thompson will bang for his green.
Well, Undying was nearby, only a level 1 Soul Rip though, so not even worth it at that point, and with the Tombstone, it came out way too late, so the one saving grace there, I think, for Thompson is he is able to finish the Bloodstone despite that death, but it's deaths like that will certainly allow Infamous to start climbing and slowly clawing the way back into this game.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
There's still a lot of game left. And
yes,
you do have Infamous again, because the understanding they know what they need to be doing is make that space for the Medusa, and we are continuing to see more and more of that. Beastmaster, he almost has a full Vlad's now finished to go with the Helm of the Dominator, so his pushing prowess and just team fight capability is going to be that much stronger, and we can't overlook the gank potential that continues to be stand out, at least for him, and what they can do. So T1, I do feel like they need to be a little careful, but they're not going to be careful. They're just going to charge.
Yeah, they're smoked up. You mentioned ganking. T1 says, yes, we'd like to do that. However, it's going to turn around and Thompson, whoopsie daisy. Bruce will not stop the Deadpool coming out. Might be saved by the Bloodstone, but it's going to be a little bit tight on the exit. Just about staying on.
Dire's top tower is under
He's hopeful
attack.
that one.
Yeah, I mean, the Death Ward for Witch Doctor, he got an amazing duration off right there with the Maledict up. And being level 4, by the way. So, as beefy as he is, especially with that Bloodstone, it didn't matter, and they just lost the Leshrac to take out and charge after that Witch Doctor, which, by the way, was a smoke at the top of that. So, like, again, I keep reiterating, T1, I understand the mentality of we don't want to get in that space at that time, but it does feel like that some of these choices as far as these initiations are a little off. Now, this one's a little safer.
I mean, that's the way you have to initiate. We'll force them away. But the point of that Maledict kill, by the way, what happened there is actually, for anyone who was astute of the eyes, the Leshrac went down to 1 HP, but the funny part about Maledict, if I'm not mistaken, it applies its final damage tick after the health burst damage gets applied. So he went from 1 health and then died to the final 12. It was actually ridiculously close to the Lesh living, just showing you how potent Bloodstone can actually be.
Yeah, but on the other side of that, right, that was a full life Leshrac that died for a solo Witch Doctor.
Oh yeah, I'm not refuting that, but my point is, like, it shows how absurd Bloodstone can be that he somehow still almost survived that, right? That's the insane part about the but yeah, to the point of like the tactic of walking in, I think if they do find the Witch Doctor and they don't stack, great. But he is the ultimate counter to them all walking in together, just because of Cast, Maledict, and of course, as we see, the Death Ward as well.
Well, again, you have Pudge now with the axe.
Got
that buffed up Rod. And now the T1, this is kind of the peaking point, it feels like, for T1. With that, they have the Undying as Pink is always got a Falcon Blade, but he just finished his Crimson Guard. So speaking of a nice peak item to have there as well.
That is for certain.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. But they're going to 4 or 3 players more smoke more so
bottom tower is
on the side of T1, hunting for yet another kill.
Get rid of him. Get rid of it. None of this crap. It's not happening. Okay, it might be happening. Yeah, if the arrow came through sooner, though, Anna might have been going over there.
Strangely murderous space.
Good lord.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'd be paranoid about that WD. Like he could do, I mean, WD isn't correct. It's more like WMD, weapons of mass destruction, right? Like he has that firepower behind him. But one kind of funny thing, you mentioned this Undying and what he should be bringing to the fight. It's kind of weird because I feel like if I'm Thompson, I don't feel safe in this game because when I look across my Undying and I notice he has level 1 Soul Rip, I know that if I get in a little bit too deep, I'm either saving myself or I'm not being safe.
Dyer's bottom tower
this Leshrac doesn't have the
attack.
IO partner to that point, right?
No,
and I understand the idea of having an Undying. Yeah, sure, he can provide that solar shield, but it's certainly not the same capability, even if it was level 4. But Undying apparently walks into a death trap right there. What's going to be activated once again? You see this the scream coming off the background from Parker, but it has worn off, and now the smoke is worn off. He's in trouble. Medusa's just dead. The Dismember on top. The dude's leg picked up by Ana. Able to get the positioning as a result, and that's a 3-for-1 easy fight for T1 in the end.
I mean, it's just the bait of the Undying, right? You see an Undying, let's just kill the Undying. What's he doing in our ancient area? Well, that's the trick, right? What's one of the rules of Dota? You do not all in an Undying. He wants you to use everything possible. It's true when there is support. It's even more true in this situation, but I guess they thought he was on his own. I love the way they dangled it as well. You can see Thompson was lurking on the edge of vision at nighttime with the intent to jump like that. And once again, just because of this absurd item on Disco Pony, the Bloodstone, they just don't have the damage to see it through. They're always going to be forced to retreat until the Medusa is 3 or 4 items in.
Well, that's still a bit of a ways to go. It is working on the Manta style next.
Josh
has a drag even with the Manta style, still some time to go. However, Primal Beast apparently a little too far up. And nice treat for them. It does seem like this Witch Doctor is kind of that,
what it used to be.
that key, dare I say. I know I've been using that quite a bit, but the reason as to why Infamous is going to be able to still have chances despite being behind between the Death Ward, the Maledict especially being applied, a great tool to have against these heroes that do have to be. And take your Ana though on point of view, so he pulls back in the rolling Pango. The tooth are going to be put down as well. In case you want to try to reinforce the Leo style, just keep on rolling away and he's fine.
Honestly, double, eat it. It's the type of situation where you feel like you should be able to confidently stand there. When you look at the heroes of T1, they can't right click, but the worrying detail is Lesh does a decent amount of physical damage with the double edict, and as the game goes on, you know, you get to that late game, he can still right? He can run that damage up and still remain a threat, especially for a hero that doesn't tend to build tanky. Speaking of tanky heroes, like
Medusa having a stone gaze to make sure to get away right here. The hook barely going to be dodged, by the way. That was actually close, but manages to escape. And Cuckoo is killed elsewhere. Over here in the jungle, so yeah, nice play for Infamous.
It's your Witch Doctor. He's been doing the dances again. I mean, to the point that you're making about Witch Doctor, the benefit of this pick and what can make him so good is he's just an anti-dive hero. If you've got heroes like T1, they're going to body together, right? And if they do, Cast comes out, all of a sudden a Maledict, everything just goes against you. So I think Witch Doctor is going to be picked a lot here at TI, and it's going to be very effective with these teams that are looking to go full aggro at this event.
Oh yeah, definitely a great hero for doing that. And the shard on Witch Doctor, you can farm that pretty good as well. But mid lane, by the way, another blink use from Ana, jumping right on top of Mirana, giving him no chance to react. Dismember immediately, so another free kill for T1 happening right there. But yeah, as I was going to, with the shard, which he does have, for the Voodoo Switcheroo, nice tool for Witch Doctor to be able to do even more damage potentially in these fights. But still, they need a lot more. It goes back to the Medusa. There really is no other way to put it. The Manta style, it's getting there at least. But is this a game where it feels like the BKB, I'm sitting here looking. I mean, BKB would certainly be great, especially against the likes of a Leshrac, right? But it's not the ultimate answer. Again, they have ways to pierce it, so.
Yeah, and it's a case of like BKB, if you think about the heroes you're up against, a lot of them are channeling, looking in the direction. Stone Gaze should be good enough to deter a lot of aggro. I think you just want to reach that late timing. Now, one upside I was going to say is T1 aren't necessarily the best road takers. But when you're out of position like this, they can make it work, and they might get a census going on. However, with the Medusa and Witch Doctor bot, T1 might get this for free.
Well, they're not defending this bottom push at the tier 3 tower is T1. So this is pretty obvious for Infamous. I feel like that something is going on, and probably a Roshan. And yeah, to the point though, even though they're a bit slower, they are that strong presence of Undying. He throws the troops out there. If you try to jump them, you better be very confident with initiation.
Okay, I was getting worried for a second there. The Centaur stomped all of them in the dark triangle, and Affliction almost died to neutrals. Oh, my little heart can't take it.
Well, it's fine. It's okay.
You know, it's
But
you don't
that
wanna...
was it was good decision making though from T1, and understanding that kind of that spike that they've hit as far as, all right, yeah, we're gonna do Roshan. We're not gonna make it the most secret that we're doing Roshan, but they feel way more confident right now if a team fight was to break out, and for good reason. This Medusa still needs
tower is under
That's
attack.
a dead Witch Doctor again.
Yeah, he couldn't resist the temptation to cast on the lane. It looks like they're going to lose the big creep as a follow-up. They even throw out the Pulverize to make sure the Drake can't walk away.
Oh no. Now the Overlord, of course, picked up a Beastmaster, but unfortunately losing his Black Dragon there.
Yeah, the worst part about it is, like here's a weird kind of thought for you, actually. Is like look at the cooldown on Helm of the Overlord, and then look at the cooldown on Pulverize. It's actually worthwhile to Pulverize to kill the neutral. It takes less time to get Pulverized again than it takes to Dom once again.
Pulverize, very short cooldown, down to 24 seconds at that level 3, absolutely. Who, by the way, probably does have a BKB as well picked up, so that's going to be a full 9 seconds coming up right here for him. So even more freedom to just onslaught in, pop that Trample
is under attack.
Pulverize the appropriate target, whatever finds necessary. So T1,
top tower
it's understandable. They're not afraid right now. Just got to group up, be together, and make this punch happen. Keep throwing mages, obviously that's
much
the
like
biggest reason of all.
Cordwood before
That's why they're doing this now. How much pressure are they going to be able to put here? Infamous certainly got the
They're going to put a lot of pressure in. They're going to force the glyph out, and then you can just reset, right? Double Edict, only 22-second cooldown. If you leave a Lasher alone in your base, it's going to disappear very fast, which is why they're quickly TPing into address. You can see T1, 1 on 2 to go in here. And once again, the poor Black Dragon is going to be the one getting punished.
They could be Radiant's
It is something there, but just remember, just like Pulverize, a very short cooldown, so very worthwhile to use it on a Black Dragon, and sure enough, the Black Dragon's dead. So, Master, he's not the happiest right now.
Deadly sweet.
Thompson, good gods, if that had been the wrong place, wrong time. And actually opens up an opportunity to go in. This is going to come back to dismember. So Pangolius can't even initiate here. Still going to be popped and dropped, and Frank, Primal Roar, it's a leave me alone scream. Zephyr's chasing, BKB still activated, he'll stick on top of Frank. And just as T1 were probably willing to leave the base alone, now they're going to be invigorated going again.
Yeah, and Leshrac now shows up. Again, Thompson wasn't here from the very beginning, but with him showing back up, they lose the problem is, but uh-oh, maybe Leshrac regretting this. He's got the Aegis. It's likely going to be burned. There we go. So eventually goes down, but of course, Resurrection mana. So now T1 push back in. Buyback for the Witch Doctor, the Son of Medusa. There's that Stone Gaze, and the immediate retreat for T1. But I don't think it's going to be a full retreat. They're likely, well, maybe it is. They are going to fall back, take the jungle, and feel comfortable with what happened right there. Well, they did gain even a bigger net worth lead because of how that played out.
And they kept Infamous in their base. This Medusa isn't accelerating towards their win condition if she's just sitting at home, not really doing anything, not getting out and farming creeps. And as soon as they back off, you notice what happens. They go hunting because they realize Parker's got a lot of farm to now recover from all that time stuck at home.
Angle, by the way, the Ag Scepter has that shield crash above. That's an illusion. Did they even realize that? I don't think they did.
Now. Well, that time they realized, no.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
T1 are just relentless, right? Like, you mentioned it on the bot lane, these low cooldowns, they just allow them to keep going and going and going. And although there are heroes that counter them out, things like Primal Roar that can interrupt your channels and arrows as well, with the BKBs, they're forcing very heavy investments in exchange for these low cooldowns.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Axe was not involved.
Undying and the Fudge, and with the Primal Beast
for Radiant's courier
on them. So yeah, T1 doing very appropriate strategy right here, taking out the jungle creeps as they retreat after pushing the base. Zephyr, he's going to be forced to pop a BKB into both. He goes in, he's got Pulverize, switcheroo. Happening for the Witch Doctor, and there is plenty of support coming in from T1 now, so this is definitely a dead Witch Doctor. Stun not going to be in time from Mirana, and he's out for a minute plus. That's a dieback there for Witch Doctor, so missing a lot of a threat now.
Luckily, he's the lowest level in the game, right? So that dieback not as long as it maybe should be, but still long enough that T1 can exploit this. The mid-wave is coming in. Pango's trying to draw their attention back home, but I think instead, actually, the goal here for T1 is going to be to pivot top, push it, maybe take that tier 2. Although as soon as I say that, Thompson seems to be partying.
Dire's bottom tower is taking many wounds.
Style, though.
Yeah, keep rolling fun.
Got TP worst haste. I mean, he's kind of just toying with top, and it feels like he's going to be rolling out eventually. Oh, he's dead.
Yep, they got the primer roll, the fall off as well. White at least able to get away with the Glimmer Cape, but great maneuvering by Infamous. They force the rotation back out of Thompson and then immediately pounce in the mid lane.
You know, that's similar to what it felt like Infamous was trying to do to that previous fight where Thompson was porting away as they were engaging. So he actually did end up porting away, but it was because of how the initiation happened. I believe it was a hook onto the Pango that it started it off, and T1 got the great execution there. But yeah, that's kind of how they hoped it had gone before, where Pango was distracting, Leshrac forced to kind of fall back and deal with him. And then without the Leshrac there, Infamous felt much more comfortable taking the fight in a 4 versus 4 scenario, which of course ended up to their benefit. So yes, still in the position 1 pudge, but you still have this very farmed Leshrac to answer for, who is level 20 now as well. So we're seeing that Pulse Nova damage increase to go with him. The Kai and Sage finished, and those level 2 boots of travel, I didn't think we've mentioned yet, but it's why he's been able to be so mobile throughout the map in this game. And he also just got delivered a BKB. So 4 of the 5 heroes have a BKB on the side of T1 right now. He got a Glimmer before Crystal made it. Good luck.
I mean, if you just continue on like that, you'll just sound more and more like a Lesh Thompson fan at that point. You're like, and he has this, and he has this. Like, we get it, the Lesh is big, but Infamous proved a weakness in the way T1's playing this game a little bit there. Like, when Leshrac goes back to deal with the Pangolier, that's 20k net worth of your team entirely just gone, right? It's not in the fight at all. Yeah. So what Infamous have realized is this boost of travel is kind of a double-edged sword. You've got a lot of mobility, but as soon as you TP somewhere, you're out of the picture for 30 seconds. Because you have that flexibility to TP everywhere, Thompson's going to look to use it pretty much every time it's off cooldown.
Now, what's one of the best ways to kind of help climb back in a game that you're behind a net worth? Well, is that rat strategy, and you have Beastmaster. It's certainly a hero that is capable of that, so we're seeing in the top lane constantly.
Flash coming.
Frank's doing so.
Jump in, Zephyr in with the Pulverize, showing the due respect across the Inflection. Will not give the Witch Doctor a chance to cast a single spell.
But again, if you're Infamous, I think considering where the game's at right now, you're fine with that. You're almost saying
Get out of here. Roll Thunder comes out just in time. Cromwell to save the day. Medusa doing a lot of damage here, and Thompson slowed in the retreat. They'll need to get out quickly. After the reset, it does look good, and Anna won't be able to trick them with a cheesy hook hit, but overall, Infamous miraculously getting out of that unscathed.
I know you're talking about this earlier, though, but it's one of those, even though no kills happen specifically in that fight, it's still a pretty big victory for T1, because you look at where Infamous is at the minimap. Specifically, Medusa, yes, she is starting to push out this top lane, but constantly being restricted to pretty much her base / just outside, and hasn't been able to do this often, but is going to be able to farm up at least the Ancients. Not really a stack, but hey, I think Ancients that happen to be there, gets the stack off, and we'll manage to do the next pair. So still very efficient farming for Parker, honestly, considering the situation, at least making the best of it. So, but the net worth lead overall, understandably, does continue to grow for T1, now up to 12k plus. And it's just spreading the wealth throughout 3 of those heroes, where it's really just Medusa on the other side.
Think of this a different way, Breaky. Like, what happened in that fight, like, the reason it's really good for T1, it's not even just map control, it's the ultimate's use, right? So you Roll and Thunder goes on cooldown, 70 seconds. Gaze goes on cooldown. Like, all these cooldowns are longer than what T1 has. However, T1 did look to pounce, and now as a result, these are all coming off cooldown for Infamous. They're ready to fight. Roll and Thunder in, stun control looks good. The follow-up as well to Thompson means he could not move, but Anna's there to save the day with the move back. BKB comes out, and now they're going to have to stand and fight because there is no way Infamous is letting them away from here.
Yeah, as soon as those BKBs come off there, you see the turn starting to happen. T1 beating down Medusa. She has to have it hold her ground the best she can with the mana shield up, but eventually wears out. No mana, no life means a dead Medusa when it's all said and done. You see comes. And you saw that he's still alive, but it's going to the K stacks to steal. Oh, it's actually going to be taken by Leo Style. With the 8 as fun he is, he's going to die, and now he's going to resurrect and blink on out. So while all of that fight was taking place, Roshan getting low in the meantime, and eventually picked up by Leo, but okay, so they deny the Aegis in a sense, does Infamous.
Not just
still
that.
a victory though for T1.
Yes, but not the biggest victory that they were looking for. They've still got a big net worth lead, not disputing that. They didn't get the Medusa kill though. She got denied by Roshan in the end. They did not get the Aegis. I don't believe they got their hands on the Akshard either. So, like overall, still a win for T1, I agree. They maintain map control. Medusa is dead. She's not farming. But that was meant to be kind of like the GG state, Roche, right? You get that. You go on the high ground with the Lesh. You force a sub-half fight out of Infamous. You win the game. Now, Infamous still have a way of potentially turning these fights and winning them.
Roshan also getting the kill on Ana there, by the way, too. So not only the Medusa, but even the Fudge. So a double kill for Roshan happening as a result of that fight. Yeah, he was quite enraged. Still falls in the end. So yeah, not as big of a victory in that fight for T1, but still a victory nonetheless. And we are starting to see some continuing to see, I should say, more items coming out specifically on their side. The Forest Staff or Crystal Maiden, pretty nice, but also saw, yeah, Lotus Sword front dying, just picked up. Very nice tool to have as well this game. Both a great purge, but also just in general, got a nice stopper to have to prevent perhaps taking place. He's helping to push the uphill as well.
Yeah, it's actually super effective against these heroes. You're dealing with Primal Roar, you've got to consider the Witch Dog cast coming out. Like, there's a lot to return, and of course, just a lot to purge up. So, really good pickup. It does start to feel like Cuckoo is kind of transcending his role from earlier, where he's not just meant to be this infinitesimal tank anymore. Now he can kind of function as a mid-range support for their frontliners, which of course will be Leshrac and Pudge.
Can't forget about Medusa, though.
Speaking of Pudge, are they setting up for something here? It feels ambitious. I hope they're not going to try to make a jump happen. Even with the TP point, it does feel like T1 has a better position. That's why you don't want to make this move. They go after the CF to move away. And nice tanker there. Anna tries to save the day, but too little too late. Maledict's a bit overwhelming. A 1-for-1 exchange, but of course, CM now dead for 70 seconds. A little bit of breathing room potentially for Infamous to move out.
Witch Doctor does have a buyback now, so finds it necessary. Could do that, but this is going to be a tier 2 tower kill. For T1. And even with top their support, Crystal Maiden, not going to deter them from getting into the base. Thompson's early in. He's pretty deep there. Way beyond the tower. Eventually falls back. Team already popping that Bloodstone, but of course defense is eventually going to come out. However, Medusa's busy farming the Dire Ancients on the other side of the map, so she's not too interested in defending right now, and for good reason. T1 is not going to commit all the way.
It's also that you can't really commit to defense when Panglia's got his Royal Thunder on cooldown. Something they know because they used it to get rid of the Crystal Maiden. So like this once again comes back to cooldowns. I think it was great when you brought up that point earlier. Like every time, just think of these trades, what each side is using. This time around, Pulverize wasn't used, Dismember wasn't even used. Even when they are, these ultimates are half the cooldown of what Infamous has to commit on the other side, whether it's Pango, Beastmaster, or Medusa.
Hawks constantly going on. I will say Beastmaster queuing up that shard, and wonder if he's going to prioritize that over the BKB. I can see either way, but the shard on Beastmaster is a lot of fun, having that dive bomb ability for some added crowd control. That's cool advantage of. So
wait,
curious to keep an eye on both sides.
Do you find convincing birds to plummet suicidally to their death fun, Breaky?
Yes. If you want to put it that way.
Jeez. All right, now I understand why
the Glue Factory.
Now I understand why they called you Break in Dota 2. You'd be breaking those poor little Hawks' necks. Damn. It is. Hey man, you said you like seeing them dive, but I mean it is effective though. Like you raise it as a fair point that it can be useful, and the reason it's useful here is because of the challenges which is on the line. Even when they have BKBs, like if they're out of BKB, then they are not going to be able to commit to either Pudge or Primal Beast ults anymore.
overwhelming blink, by the way, on Leshrac we're seeing more and more used. Who's also level 25, so those diabolic hitting explosions.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, Hobson has absolutely hit a peak here. 30,000 net worth coming out as well. So Outpost Force are going to be taken over by T1. So talk about more of that map control. But well, Infamous, to get around this, they're going to all smoke up and try to find that engagement. There's the opening on Ana. Now Ward. Because the card comes out response to back on the edge. Another counts in the back of lines. You see the shield guards constantly coming down. The level of back as soon as they died early on. And then Dino beating down with a tombstone on top of Frank. Eventually, the tombstone was killed off though. Also still alive, but it wasn't activated for Thompson. He's just running like a madman. He's got the Lotus Orb effect as well to assist. And Beastmaster dying throughout, but that's, I guess, one of the two deaths. We're not done just yet, though.
He's in trouble. He can't get away from this anymore. Tom's going to try to stand his ground. They need some assistance, though. No more stuns means that Parker will be able to get out. But you can see the power of Leshrac. If they do not burst him straight away, he can still come out ahead. And you know what, Breaky? Key detail there, why that worked out. Not too bad for T1 in the end. Pudge initially got stunned, but the 4-staff save came out. The arrow didn't connect, and it meant that he was able to get the dismember out halfway through the fight, and he didn't get bursted down quicker by the maledict damage. If it wasn't for that detail, I actually think Pudge dies about 5, 6, maybe 7 seconds sooner, and possibly we're seeing a team wipe come out in favor of Infamous.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been massive. But you also, as we were looking at the fight recap there, I noticed that the damage, the most damage in that fight was actually done by the Medusa. And so we cannot overlook that fact. She's been over 8,000 damage in that fight. Now, speaking of Medusa, that's not good.
And when she has Showcase on cooldown for 10 seconds. 10 seconds too long. That Medusa was going to die. They can't save her because even if they can stun him up, the Shrek is still in the area. Parker is going to be gone dead for 80 seconds.
Reduce to your
Please tell me he has buyback. He does not. And if they realize that, they can take full control here.
Well, and this could be extra back KP Leo style. He's in trouble now too. He tried to save the Medusa to start this all off, having to get away. He's doing his best, and he has the ability to do so. Another blink in 1 more second, and is going to be fine. Moonlight Shadow's even committed, as we see, to really make sure that getaway is successful. That would have been absolute tragedy for Infamous if they also lost the Pango. But yeah, losing Medusa is certainly painful enough. She's out for 50 seconds, and that's a lot of time. Here already quite behind in this game, and that's even more control that T1's going to take over. Tier 4 items have started to make some appearances as well. We're going to start keeping an eye on who's going to win.
Actually, the way that Pangolin played that, like, it was risky and he almost died, but he may have created the space they need to buy time for the Medusa. Because he pulled them away, his team was able to push out the mid-wave. The creeps went in as quickly, and that's why in the end, after all that, all the effort and the big kill Medusa, T1 only get a tier 3 tower.
Yeah, that's true. That's so the distraction perhaps paying off in the end. For Leo style, as risky as it was, but yeah, when you're behind like you are, certainly got to take some of those risks. So it's not a bad play in the end. Beastmaster, by the way, he does have the dive bomb, so I can be satisfied now. Killing a
good. Yeah. I mean, I'm a pigeon, and this is a hawk. That's my natural predator. So if there's less of them in the world, then I'm happy. The problem is you might not even get them off. You just saw what happened there. Like when you're flying by, Top's going to almost insta-burst them down. So might it be that we don't even get to see that many dive bombs coming out from the birdies.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Also really good, by the way, too. Having that split earth buff where you see right here, this is what he'll start doing. He'll just start literally placing them in the base. And he's kind of controlling the zone. As a result, as time over time, you see right here, every 3 or 4 seconds, it just keeps on expanding, exploding over and over again. It does make these team fights that much more difficult to engage if you're Infamous, especially when you're being pushed in like that. So definitely a great pickup there for Thompson once again coming out.
It's one of those things you can easily forget about, right? Like, you're like, stun's done with. I'm going to move in now. Like, why have I been stunned again? Wait, what? What's happening? All right, it's actually crazy to think. Imagine if Leshrac was on the other team, how good it would be this game, just because all these channeled stuns. In terms of that element, it doesn't get that much value, but it is an issue for Medusa who can't move fast. Svina heroes that wish they could move quickly. Affliction in the wrong area at the wrong time. Looks like Michael will at least be able to get away, and they did force out the BKBs from the side of tier 1.
Yeah, and that's another one. Hey, if you're gonna lose a hero, it's certainly Witch Doctor, who, by the way, has died 16 times. Just saying.
Why you gotta do him like that?
It's a fact. I mean, you open the scoreboard, it's there. I'm not saying that's really bad. It's pretty bad. I mean, you don't want them to be the case, but we're at a point where it's maybe not the biggest deal that he's dying over and over again. He's not to be him than anyone else, but yeah, he's dead for another 20 seconds. And that is yet again another opening here for T1.
You're doing my boy dirty, right? That's like one of those kind of like poor people are poor situations. Like, yeah, why you gotta remind us? Damn, like depress the situation. But to his credit, like what he's done, if you consider the early game, he kind of paid for himself there. And now T1 have made the adjustment, but it means that at the beginning of these fights, they often have to kill the Witch Doctor first or risk a turnaround.
Third Roshan, it's gonna be attempted at least.
Oh, this will be fast. This will be really fast. They've got Diabolic Edict increased damage here, so no chance for Infamous to react. Be another Roche going the way of T1. All three Roches will be going into the pocket of the team that has Lishrak, Pudge, Undying as their cores.
I like how Pudge literally picks up everything, by the way.
My.
He's like, it's all mine. Nom, nom, nom. Oh, that was an issue survive for the fact Beastmaster's going to be done with the pulverize, but immediately response. Able to get the primal reward off. Shoots down, though, and Beastmaster unable to be saved when it's all said and done. And Thompson, once again, continues to charge in the back line. Since Crystal Maiden is top Leo style. He's lost that Rolling Thunder, though, but he is annoying.
Okay, I think they don't want to chase. They realize Leo Style's about to do it to him again. Like, drag them away from the base and waste their time. They need to get in, but Leo Style confidently waiting around, trying to clear the creeps. Does maximize the time wasted by T1. Every bit of time they can get, because the tracks are in the base. BKB gets activated. Voodoo going on. A lot of damage coming out from the Witch Doctor, but not enough. A lot being returned his way. Stone Gaze is going to be used very early by Parker. Hook back doesn't work out, courtesy of the Manta. But now you have nothing to defend your base with.
And this is a Pudge who, well, Jesus in his backpack early, but he's got the Aegis, so he's not worried. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see Paul. Look at Thompson's going to dive in. He's going to get the Lotus Orb effect to help keep him alive there, but that's going to be another Rax kill. So, yeah, point being, he does eat the cheese, so Pudge is now back to full life on mana, or at least was for a second there. He could just jump in at any second, feeling pretty confident. The overwhelming blink he also has to go with the Shivas. The positioning for Infamous, it's got to be so difficult. The hook almost hit him right there. Really put it with his blink, but we're looking at over a 30,000 net worth lead. So, you know, they never like to say a game is doomed to be over at this point too early. But I mean, I'll say this about Infamous: they have Medusa, right? You talk about a hero that's difficult to truly finish the game against. She is up there as one of those.
That's a fair point, Breaky, but hit me out. T1 have a 42k net worth this rack.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. Like it's like, it's not better myself yet. You know, oh god. I think anyone can do better than this Witch Doctor's KDA at this point, though. 18 deaths now on the board. Hook back. Doesn't work out the way intended. Roll through from Leo Star. Follow-up looking good with Primal Roar. Ruby staying alive. The hook gets forced up even deeper. Parker forced to activate everything and stand his ground. But Pudge will give over his life. It's only the Aegis, however, and the bigger issue remains. Thompson stands his ground, but goes deep. Maybe a little bit too deep here. Bloodstone is good, but I don't think it's that good. Or is it?
Yes. That was a risky time for Thompson, but as I say, risky, maybe not so risky. They're going to get the kill onto Medusa. Oh, maybe not actually get forced out away. You see Pudge taking that as well. Look at me wearing out in there about the pulverize and slam stuck onto Medusa. She is forced to buy back on though. Popping the refresher, running back in with another dismember, but he's going to have to BKB and run himself, getting on out of there. So there's a couple of times there where I was looking at T1 and being like, did they actually overcommit here? No, it goes back to Pudge was just so beefy. Not only just naturally how he works, but every item that he had, including that Aegis, including the refresher that he eventually did pop right there, he was able to, he was confident that he could survive for as long as he did. And it just became a near impossible task to truly hold right there for Infamous and win that fight. But I will say, I mean, they do keep the racks alive, so it did require Medusa buyback though.
It did also require T1 deciding to like dive pretty deep there. You definitely feel the confidence they're playing with though. T1 still extend that lead further, and a movement on the top lane this time. Medusa will look to retreat away, and Silver Edge will get her out. But you can just see how confident Thompson is in this game. He's not fazed by anything as it stands.
And he's like, all right, my time here is done. I'm going to go bottom now.
And now to take your base.
He has a nihilism once again, too, by the way. The Ag Scepter was purchased by him, so...
I mean, is there anything left to buy, really? Oh, yeah, Refresher's left to buy, of course, because double BKB, also double dub split Earth in the base, like we saw last time. Does sound good.
Double Pulse Nova doesn't mean...
Double Eating, though, is pretty good. BKB, you can take the base. Great, let me just refresh and ignore your resistance. Oh my God.
Over here, they're not ignoring existence. The Crystal made it. They're going to take care of the freezing field being used, but she goes down, so does the support on the other side. Once again, a Witch Doctor. However, Beastmaster left in no man's land and picked off. He's dead for 85. Has buyback on the Beastmaster, though. They're going to come into play here, but...
Okay, thank God. I thought they were not going to pick up the gem that they really need because everyone keeps Invis surviving against Leshrac. They've now got it on Zephyr, which means that next time Medusa gets found out, she gonna be dead. That's my professional analysis.
She gonna be dead. This is gonna be a death with the Rolling Thunder, but really desperate at this point. Infamous slamming the background on Parker. Buyback for Beastmaster does come out to the Andis. Activate him on Primal V, so he's fine with the time being. Pudge, BKB, took by the Tombstone, not so much. A little rip heal is gonna help keep it alive a little bit longer. KP,
the base
the last stand for Infamous.
Yeah, and it feels like they're already on their knees. Leshrac is going down. Just one left. The stun comes out to stop the TP bot, so Leshrac will have to walk there to finish off the racks. Then it's going to be Mega Creeps, and man, gotta give it over to Ana there. This is such an infuriating draft to play against. He's got the Ag Shard, so he grabbed his Leshrac when he's been initiated on Save Thompson, reaching him up the floor, and as a result, it was almost impossible to kill Thompson. There it is again, Ana did saves the day, saving Private Thompson here. And even if he comes out now, he's going to be regurgitated in full health and happy.
Oh, they're going to run at this time, but no, he just pops on out like a special surprise and jumps right in. Looking to take out at least a Beastmaster chasing after the Medusa as well. Once again, Witch Doctor, he got hooked, he's dead, so a bit of distraction there, but we have Mega Creep still spawn, so it does feel like Infamous just delaying what seems to be the inevitable, and there's that once again from Bud.
Yep, so
his teammate.
That's saving Private Tops and saving Corporal Cuckoo. Where are we going to go next? Does the White Mon need a little bit of assistance? Zephy's dead, we can't help him. I mean, then again, Pudge does like bodies, but damn, I just love the way Ana's kind of switched this full utility role, and it's super effective. Like, his goal is no longer to kill, because he realizes that Thompson, if enabled, will destroy everything in this game.
Well, this is definitely what naturally Pudge really does, right? Especially in the core role where, again, you enhance his farm, being in that position one, he's able to get the early Ags, and then he's just accelerates from there. He pops it, he jumps in, pops a rot, and he's so difficult to kill alone with the flesh sheet, let alone the items that he's able to build up, that you ideally have to have that carry around him. Of course, in this case, being the Leshrac, certainly then take over the game, who I know we keep going over this Leshrac and how impressive it is, but one more, he's almost level 30. I mean, that's not something we get to see too often, but that's going to be a full talent tree very soon.
It's not just the talent tree, really. It's just me looking at that net worth. 50,000. The next closest, 29.
Almost half at 29. That's insane.
I mean, I gotta give it. He's basically like, you know, it's kind of weird. The way I'm watching him play this map and the amount he's absorbing himself, it reminds me of the good old day. Oh god, I'm not gonna say good old days. I'm gonna puke. Of the old Naga builds where they'd farm all 3 lanes, right? No one else would get any say in it. He's just everywhere. He's farming everything, heroes and creeps alike. And the beautiful thing about the way T1 is drafted, we wondered what the end game state was. We mentioned the Leshrac, but I didn't expect it to this degree to just be full utility and save around Thompson. Damn, is it effective to watch.
Now, I'll say this, one more thing for Infamous. Again, I'm not trying to sit here and act like, oh, they have a great chance here. They don't. It's a very, 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 very small chance. But I think the one winning condition that Infamous has right here, at least give themselves that chance, is delay this game to 60 minutes, right? Get those tier 5 items. Try to you know, get the RNG in your favor and win off of that. Now, again, obviously a lot easier said than done. That's still 9 minutes away. And of course, T1 is going to be protecting that idea, but I think that's naturally what Infamous has to play for here at this point. But speaking of that, T1, they do not want to get to that point. They want to finish, and Roshan helps with that.
Yeah, it's quite nice when you get this many roaches in and you realize everyone on your team is going to be full Ags and Ag Sharded at this rate. I mean, the only ones left for the supports, Ag Shard already on CM.
and each of them could be doing an act. They're close to having the full blue. It's crazy to think once again that throughout this whole game, Infamous, the team of the Medusa, the Pangolier, and the Beastmaster have never had a say in Roche.
That's a Divine Rapier, by the way, on Medusa. I mean, that's another thing you would expect in this case. Yeah, so
the same issue remains. Like, if you get stunned, you're not using it though, right? Like, Primal Roar can save you from one, but there's Dismembers and then there's also Pulverize. So they need something else, like a refresher on maybe Beast.
They don't need this to happen.
Push it away, hung it out, has to fly back straight away. Now the dive in towards the Medusa. She's holding on that stone gauge, but forced to use the BKB and is currently disarmed. Now she can't go in.
She was struggling from the very beginning of that. Buyback going to be coming back, get buybacks on both sides, especially on the Radiant, but they just pushing into the Falcon Medusa with the Divine Rapier, though, standing your ground at the Falcon. Rampage on Thompson. Why not? He's going to roll, though. Nice man does. Yeah, that's going to be enough for the kill. The red numbers come out, but immediately Electric flies back and teleports right back in. It's like, all right, we had my fun. I got my Rampage. Let's actually finish the game now. But TK's over the ball. So it is actually
T1 looking tier 1 in this game. This was well drafted and well executed. Not necessarily the easiest of drafts to execute, but their approach, I loved it, right? Like, we highlight the fact that Infamous looked like they were playing for this kind of run and gun at you style of Dota. They were willing to fight early on, and I love the fact that T1 didn't